You're listening to the King's Cast podcast. New episodes are released weekly. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at King's Cast, like on Facebook, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
Welcome to King's Cast with D Fresh, Eric, and Ryan. This is your weekly Sacramento Kings podcast for Kings fans by Kings fans. As always, this episode is brought to you by Ziggy's Smoke Shop. You can follow Ziggy's Smoke Shop on Instagram at Ziggy Smoke Shop 209. They have locations in Stockton and Tracy. We're coming off last week's fun trivia episode with our boy Robbie Lewis. That was our second trivia episode that we've ran. They've been getting some high ratings, so I figured we do another one last week. I was happy to come out as a champ. Ryan was episode 1's champ, so Doug, we need to get you on the board with that for the next time. But we have another loaded episode going on today. Even though there's nothing going on, there's always something going on, and so we're going to bring that to you today. But before that, I want to check in on the guys. Doug, how you doing?
Pretty good. Didn't do much this week, but did have some good news yesterday. I feel like I can join the conversation now of lawns because the new house we're having built will have a lawn in the front yard, so we can kind of compete for whose lawn looks the best.
Wow, I'm actually honestly really proud of you, Doug, that you stepped up as a man and requested that in your new build, because a lot of people these days, these progressives, they're going drought-friendly lawns, and I'm just not a fan of that. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I am not a fan of that. I live in a extremely big lot for I have a lot of grass, and I take great pride in my lawn. It is the best in the court. I know I've said it before, but Eric didn't ask me how I'm doing. I'm doing fantastic. Great week. I got some good news to share with you guys. Last weekend, me and my father went halves on a go-kart. So I have this sweet new go-kart that has a Coors Light spoiler. Really pumped about that. All the new parts just came in last night, so I'm going to put that together today after I mow my lawns. Lawns come first, guys.
How many like miles per hour is that thing going? How much are you pushing on that?
So it's a Predator 212 motor. It's 6.5 horsepower. But we took we didn't. We bought it like this. The governor's off of it. So when I was driving it last week, I was estimating, like I had Snapchat out, and you know the filter where it like tells you how fast you're going. I was trying to do that, and it said I was going 38. And I wasn't going as fast as it could either. So I'm probably somewhere 38 to 40 is what I'm expecting. So we'll see. I'll get an accurate speed, and I'll like videotape me, and maybe we'll put on the Twitter or something so all the fans can see my sweet new go-kart.
So funny story, I guess. Ryan and I, if you haven't picked up on how listening to King's Cast, Ryan and I are brothers. Doug's our brother from another mother, but Ryan and I are actually brothers, and we were little kids. Ryan and I have a funny story where we were riding go-karts in a church parking lot, and funny for me, this is early 90s, so definitely, rules were different, a little more lax back then, but early 90s, I'm probably 6 years old. I don't know why. My parents let me drive Ryan, and he's probably 3 or 4 at the time, and no cover on the go-kart, right? It was just all bare. So no shield or anything like that. And I'm driving this 3-4-year-old out, and he falls out of the go-kart. Did I run you over? What did I do to you, Ryan? I jacked you up pretty good, right?
I remember this pretty vividly. I was 4 years old, and I fell out, and Eric ran me over like I was a little raccoon in the street. Boom, boom. Dragged me a little bit, and I got really, really bad road rash. I remember crying. I remember going home, and I remember my mom cleaning my my butt that was now hamburger meat, and I got blueberry Hubba Bubba after that. So I'm gonna have to say that's my earliest memory of having bubble gum. So thank you, Eric. I love the blueberry hubba bubba now to this day. So thank you. But yes, it was a dramatic experience, and this is the first go kart that anybody in the family has owned since then. So we're hoping for better vibes this time around.
That's why Ryan stutters on the show, though, Doug. He's just always had this little stutter.
It's scary because I have a
Matt-
similar older brother, younger brother tragedy like that with my older brothers. That's weird. I have a story similar to that.
Well, you
Well,
fell
it
out.
wasn't-
Well,
are you
tell
gonna
it. I
share
mean,
It
here's
wasn't
the platform.
technically. I was seeing if you guys want to hear it. It was not a go-kart. It was different, but it was like the big brother, came out on top here. So we're at my grandfather's company picnic, like when I was like 3 or something like that. So my older brother was 10 at the time, and I was hanging out with him. He decided it would be fun to throw rocks at this like flock of geese that was just hanging out by the water. And so one of them hit one in the head. Long story short, big bro takes off running, leaves little bro behind, and I got attacked by, I don't know, a dozen to 15 geese. And they have such dirty mouths and they have a lot of bacteria in their throats. So I got that
warts.
all over my legs. I had warts for years all over my legs because my older brother being an asshole. So that's my story.
I remember that, Doug. I remember you had that on your knee for a
Forever.
while. I remember when we were kids, you had that.
That's how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yeah,
may I
that's a crazy story.
may I interject real quick, Eric, about my stuttering? So I don't think that I really stutter for some. I think it's more than
No, you don't stutter. It was a joke.
it's my allergies, I think. So sometimes, I gotta sniffle and try not to go over the microphone. But if I did have a stutter, I would have to give that credit to Eric. Also, in the same year that he ran me over at the go kart, Eric hit me in the head with a t-ball bat and split my head open. So 4 was
Oh, dude. So I was just gonna tell this story right now, and no joke, because all right, I was gonna tell this story
my fourth
because
year in this world was a rough one.
because we, I was thinking, how some of this is related to sports, and no joke, you guys can. I mean, I can show you my screen. I have the 1996 Oakland A's roster pulled up just to make a reference because I got a bat from Little League. So I said mid 90s, man. The 90s baseball was awesome. Everyone was fucking on steroids, and the mid 90s Oakland A's with Mark McGwire and Jason Giambi was juiced. I mean, I could just read all these names, juiced, and I got a bat, and we were out in the court playing baseball, and little Ryan walked up behind me, and I swung that Oakland A's Little League Day baseball bat, trying to swing for the fences, and cracked this motherfucker right in the back of the head, busted his head open. So Ryan has a lot of scars. We also attacked him with chairs, like WWE style. Dad wouldn't let us watch wrestling after that. We were big fans of Sting. So Ryan definitely got the beating from us when we were kids, man.
That's funny because I'll bring up another story where I actually was a suspect. I went putt golfing with my little sister one time, who's just over a year younger than me. And instead of putting like a responsible putt golfer would, I decided to swing it like it was a fucking driver. And long story short, broke her nose. She had to go to the ER immediately. So that was a fun time too.
With the ball or with the club?
The
Like you
I
swung
hit
a
her
club and
straight
hit
in
her?
the face with the club. Didn't see her there. Boom.
Damn! Did your parents spank you, Doug? Did you get?
I was
didn't get
beaten
spanked,
so
I can
bad
tell.
I don't even remember it. No,
Do
not
you really?
that time. But I was spanked as a child. That's why I'm a responsible human nowadays.
See? Did your mom spank you or did your dad spank you?
Mostly my dad, and you guys know he's a large human. So that big hand on my ass cheek,
Yeah, your
that
dad is big as hell, man.
did not feel well. So I never committed the same crime again.
Well, and that's why Doug walks with a limp if you see him in person. So let's move on because so something I've been doing this week with no sports. I need to really share this with you guys. There is a series on YouTube. It's called, you guys know I don't know what they are, like a media company, SB Nation. You guys are familiar with them. So they have a bunch of cool YouTube series, like 15 to 20 minutes long, done really well, and they're called Collapse. So it's SB Nation's Collapse. And so we can tweet this out for people that are looking for just some fun sports content. I know people are kind of in that nostalgic mindset, looking back on the Bulls with the Last Dance documentary right now. They they actually do. So what this series is they take a team or franchise that was at their peak, and they kind of do a chronological timeline of their collapse and all of the moves that went into it. And I wanted to just bring it up just to share a little bit of content. Have you guys seen this yet? I know I've sent some of them out. Has anybody taken the chance to watch any of these or
I have
no?
not watched it, but I know exactly what you're talking about because you have sent them out.
Please,
Yeah, so it's just
I was
something I
just saying,
wanted
please
to go
enlighten
ahead,
us.
Doug.
I have not seen them yet.
That's all it is, and so maybe I'll send them out, and maybe we bring it up again later. But I figured I'd bring it up to people who are listening to the podcast, maybe looking for something to watch, and we'll tweet out the link to it. But one thing that you guys know, and you guys know history, it talks to a lot of the basketball teams. You know, they talk about the Bulls, they talk about um, I want to say the Lakers with Kobe Bryant, and they talk about the Pistons. So there's like a lot of them they've done, and it seems like every single one of them, what's happened is teams have gotten into really bad cap situations, and then they kind of peaked, and then after that, getting out of it, so it's just a fun one. But they did a series, a little mini series on Jeremy Lin, and it kind of led me down the rabbit hole of SB Nation. And Jeremy Lin was something that, if you guys remember, a couple years ago, just was like this meteoric rise in the middle of a season. And I wanted to bring it up today to see if maybe we could have a discussion about it. You guys can tell me what you think, but Jeremy Lin, Doug, I don't know if if you can pull his stats up and give us some of them through that stretch, but he really took off and it turned into like a phenomenon. And I just wanted to some of the conversations we've had on the last couple weeks about Kings just getting really up for we would consider mediocre players. Like, what if a Jeremy Lin scenario had happened with the Kings, and how do you think the Kings fans would handle it? But Doug, what are those
Yeah, from
stats?
2012 to 2017, which is the bulk of his, really good play. Well, good play. He averaged 12.7 points a game, 3 boards, 4.7 assists, 35% from downtown, and that was all while averaging 27.9 minutes a game. And as I read these now, it kind of reminds me of someone.
Yeah, well, I didn't even intend to ever do that, but that was it 2011, 2012 specifically. That was that season where he was
Yeah,
going off.
14.6 points a game for the Knicks, 3.1 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 32% from downtown, 44% from the field in 27 minutes.
Ryan, what do you think about? I mean, Jeremy Lin, and like talk about him, and like, is it worth having a discussion about like if you were on the Kings? Is there anything there? Or am I just reaching? You think?
So if he was on the Kings and he went through that Linsanity stage, oh my god, dude, his jersey, first off, jersey would be retired right now, and he's still in the NBA. I really, I really think there'd probably be a statue outside Golden One, and that's if the Golden One wasn't named the Lin Center. So they're definitely all right. So like, you guys catch my drift where I'm going with this, right? Like Sacramento, oh my god, dude, like they just might be the Sacramento Lins, dude. For
It
like
would have been
seriously,
all
that's
the
not
news here.
but you know the crazy thing about that Jeremy Lin is I remember watching this because I was actually when Linsanity popped off, I was actually in boot camp. All right, so I have a crazy story about this. So I was in boot camp when this Linsanity thing popped off, and my bunkmate had gotten sick, right? So the only place that there was a TV was when you go to the hospital. And when you're in boot camp, you can never go anywhere by itself, okay? So my buddy, he gets sick, and I got to go to Medhold with him. So we march all our butts all the way across the base, and we go to Medhold, and so I'm all pumped. I'm like, hell yeah, bro, I'm about to watch some ESPN. And I sit down, bro, and people are going crazy about this on ESPN. Like, people are going crazy about this Jeremy Lin thing. So, like, it was nuts, dude. That's like right when he was hitting, like, he hit the game winner, dude. He was dropping hella points, all that stuff. But anyways, I just want to share that because it's a weird memory I have of Jeremy Lin. But Jeremy Lin, dude, like, all right, cool. He went like on a 6-game streak. Like, I mean, he averaged 14 points a game, dude. It's kind of like, dude, like if Bogey went on a 6-game streak and dropped hella points and then just regressed back to his normal state. Except Jeremy Lin has better assist totals than Bogey, but that's the same type of scoring that is, dude. It's not like it's nothing crazy, but yeah, the Jeremy Lin thing, man. If it happened in Sac, I guess it would have been cool because they sucked back then anyway. So I guess they would have been on the news.
Yeah, so it's just, I know it's a random and off topic, but I think that right now, like I said, there's nothing going on, but there's always stuff going on. And what I meant by that is I think we're the type of sports fans where we definitely are interested in the history of the sport, the history of franchises. I think that what makes us a little bit more, I would say, unique is that we get really fascinated by how teams manage their rosters. We were very interested in the, I would say, the GM aspect of teams and stuff like that. And so I think that's why on the podcast sometimes maybe we focus a lot on that, is how teams are built and how resources are used. And Jeremy Lin was just a fun thing, and it got me. It kind of tied in, I guess, to this which was, I was trying to think, is there anybody in I would say the last 15 years that's just gone on this crazy streak for the Kings? And to be honest with you, I really couldn't think of anyone. The only guy who I could kind of think of was Isaiah Thomas, and how that year he went off for like 20 points a game, but they let him go right away. And I think because he was so small, I think people were kind of like, they understood, what the Kings were doing. That's a separate debate, but I couldn't think of anybody. But I noticed that this week, Jack Cooley has been all over KHTK, okay? And it's not the first time Jack Cooley's been all over KHTK or all over the Kings Herald podcasts or whatever. And so I kind of wanted to, we just had Jeremy Lin's streak, but like now we can talk about Jack Cooley's streak, because dude, this guy played 7 career games with the Kings and he's all over the media right now. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And help me out, guys.
I don't remember watching Jack Cooley even play, honestly, because I think he was on the roster when I was overseas, dude. So like I don't think I ever saw the guy play. Honestly, I don't get it. It's one of those scenarios, like even this guy had a longer stint. Like when Dante Green was in SAC, dude, Dante Green still comes on KHDK, bro. Like you would think Dante Green's jersey's in the rafters, dude, from the way that he gets treated around there. So Sacramento's media just has some type of fascination with, putting these guys who maybe they're just cool guys, I don't know, and hyping them up on their social medias, and I honestly, I don't get it. But honestly, if I walked past Jack Cooley, I'll be the first to tell you I probably couldn't even tell you what the hell he looked like.
He's like a mix between a Greg Ostertag with the side part, I think.
He looks like an actor, dude. Like a small-time actor in like a background of a TV series. That's what he looks like to me. Like he does not look like a basketball player.
Hey, hold on. Let's not like bash Jack Cooley, bro. It's not his fault, dude. Like he's probably a really cool guy.
No, Jack Cooley.
We should be bashing like Carmichael Dave and those guys for like having him on and like really treating this guy like a superstar.
I was just gonna say this is, and we talked about it the other day or whenever we were texting about it, but it's like they're friends. It seems like Carmichael Dave and Jack Cooley, and that's fine. But oh my God, the amount of run this guy gets on King's Twitter is like, are we serious right now? Because who the fuck's Jack Cooley? That's all I
say. I pulled it up. Jack Cooley. I will say I do remember that stretch because, I wasn't stationed in Germany. I was just living my life here in Sacktown, and it was like a week. He was there for like a week or two. And the Kings were terrible. They were terrible. And he came in, and I think it's one of those things that we've said that if you come to Sacramento and you like play really hard with effort, people really like you. From all accounts, Jack Cooley seems like he does seem like a cool, chill guy. But he averaged 5.7 points a game, and he had 4.3 total rebounds, and that was only in 12 minutes. So maybe give that guy full minutes, he might have been on Willie Cauley-Stein's level.
I don't know. Hey, that per 36 is sounding right, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe they were onto something. And I guess it's right. We just kind of say shit sometimes, and we're not trying to hate on Jack Cooley. It's just I'm just scrolling through, and you've got this Kings Herald, who's this new, Sacktown Royalty branch off deal or whatever they are, and it's like, dude, they did an hour episode with Jack Cooley, and I listened to a couple of their clips, and they're like, it literally was this Jack Cooley's take on the Kings locker room. Bro, he was there for 7 games, and he's like talking about Garrett Temple and how good of a teammate Garrett Temple. I'm like, I don't know, man. This is not what I'm feeling. I'm not really into this. So, I don't know how you guys
I
feel
just
about
can't
it.
wait until they have Eric Mika on for King's History and his participation too. So that should be fun.
Oh, just one day we could just do an episode, Doug, and we can use that like somber music that that you have, and and we can do like names, forgotten names in King's history because there's a lot of them. Another thing, scrolling through the Twitter this week, which was our boy Matt George. Last time, Matt, we gave you some credit because you did we thought a respectable, cool, fun series, but this time not so much. You put Matt George. Did you guys see this? He was reliving the Mike Malone trade, or not trade, the firing rather, that season, and he's posted the season when they were like 11-13 in December, and he said what could have been. I haven't talked to you guys about this. I thought I'd bring it up and just see what your commentary was because I just was like, what could have been? I don't know, man. I mean, they were 11-13. Like, what are you going to say? I mean, DeMarcus Cousins did get that meningitis, and I get the season was a failure, but I figured I'd give you guys throw this up and see what you guys thought and make sure I'm not crazy.
Okay, so I actually saw you respond to him on Twitter, and every time I see Eric call somebody out on Twitter, I always click on it because it's probably something that we're going to talk about on the podcast. So I think what he was referring to on that is like Sack jumped out of the gates that year, dude, and was like 7-2 or something like that, dude. Like it was like, if you go look at it, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but they had a very good like first 10 games. And I actually remember that too, but I think that's what he was getting at. I think he just kind of threw up the whole schedule through December just because that's probably a failure on his part. But yeah, whatever, dude. Like Boogie got sick. They sucked anyway. They didn't do anything the year before. They didn't do anything the year after. So, yeah, whatever, dude. I don't even know what to say about that anymore.
Yeah, and just specifically, they started off 9-5 that year. So especially for us casual Kings fans, like holy shit, like guys, this may be the year. And they had some decent time. I mean, obviously they had Boogie and Rudy Gay and Darren Collison was coming along, being a nice cool piece. But yeah, and then I listened to some of it the other day as well, Eric, and I'm pretty sure that Matt George said that they were a lock for the postseason. That's a stretch, dude. That's a stretch. That's a stretch because I mean, like they were showing promise early. Obviously, I'm like and if I'm wrong, I will come on here next week and say, Matt, I was wrong. But I'm 99% sure he said that team was a lock for the postseason if Boogie didn't get sick and Malone was not fired.
Oh.
This is my point of bringing it up, and it's Matt George, you're just the guy sometimes that I feel like because you put out content, and hey, good for you, man, doing your job. You get paid for it. I'm not trying to knock on this dude as a person. It's just I do feel like that if you're a Kings media member and you're putting out stuff, it's the same as that guy from the article we talked about a couple weeks ago. We're just random fans, dude. We're the people eating your content, and we just, what? And I think it falls in line what you said about the lock for the postseason is kind of why I wanted to bring it up because it just seems like Kings media fans, it's those fans who work in the media who we consider as ultra positive and somewhat maybe even at times delusional that they like to look backwards and replay things out. What if this would have worked out this way and all these things. And that's just not how you do things. The Kings have shown a pattern of, franchise behavior and I don't know why they're always given the benefit of the doubt. It's looking back to this year. Well, if these players hadn't have got hurt and blah, 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 then we would have maybe, it's just that mindset, and I just don't think it just falls in line with everything. Right.
100%. The team's mediocre, man, and they have been below mediocrity for a long time. And that's a big thing that we touched on, especially early on in the podcast, how we were going at, the people's mindset. Or I remember having multiple conversations about that. It's just kind of a losing mindset. But yeah, Sacramento, they just, they try to blame it on like this year. Oh, well, if Bagley wouldn't have got hurt, if De'Aaron Fox wouldn't have got hurt, I'm pretty sure people in the beginning of the season said we were a lock for the postseason. I mean, we definitely had them in there. So guys, guys like at the end of this year, they were talking, well, if this wouldn't happen. Well, it does happen, and it happens to every single team every single year. And it's who, if you're really a good team and you really are a good franchise, you're gonna pull through that. And Sacramento just hasn't done that, and it keeps happening time and time again. So enough with the excuses, man. Eventually, you got to do it.
Exactly. So a lot of I would say us being critical of what's going on, what opinions are, and I think that's what's going on right now. There's no sports, and we're just seeing a lot of people write a lot of stuff, and I feel like this is our platform to give our opinions on. So I'd like to move us on into the trash take of the week. And I think it was unanimous on this. So bang, 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 trash take of the week right here. We got a couple trash takes this week. Couple honorable mentions. I think as we go into this episode, we're going to have a little bit more trash takes. But Doug, why don't you hit the people with the trash take of the week this week? Bring it on.
The trash take of the week is from Bleacher Report, and Bleacher
Report.
They put out their all-decade team, so that's from 2010 to 2019, and I'm going to go in the order that they have on here, and then you'll know where we get the trash from on this take. Steph Curry, James Harden, Kevin Durant, LeBron James.
Deserving.
And Draymond Green.
What? Trash.
Dude,
Ryan?
That's so bad, man, because they left off Boogie. Okay, they left off Anthony Davis. They left off Blake Griffin. You left off Blake Griffin, dude. You left off guys like DeAndre Jordan, Andre Drummond, who I would take over Draymond, who's been a rebounding leader in this decade. There's a lot of freaking dudes that they left off. That's crazy. LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, come on, man. Terrible. Hey, by the way, when we do our trash take, do you know how how like Jim Rome does like that? We don't like that call and the music and stuff. We should definitely get some. I was
Doug, get on the audio.
While Doug was saying like your trash take is, I was like that whole like we don't like that call was playing in my head, dude. I'm like, dude, that's money.
Oh, that's funny, man. Yeah, I will.
So no, I was to say, Doug, is that we all agree Draymond being on an all-decade team is trash. We talked about Draymond in our most overrated episode a couple weeks back, but I did want to point this in real quick, which was that I did a Google search for the all-decade team from this last decade before we hopped on, and the December 2019 Bleacher Report article came out, and I want to say Draymond Green was not on there. So make up your mind, Bleacher Report. I know it's probably different articles, but why they put this guy on there?
5 months
so
ago,
trash.
and his play from December until the shutdown really put him into that category, I'm assuming. So maybe, without Steph and Clay, it was like, hey, this guy's deserving. We're going to put him on, guys.
So that's our trash take of the week. Okay, Bleacher Report, we're going to come at you again, okay? Because we're moving on. Bleacher Report, what are you doing, man? I like Bleacher Report. They're fun. This is not a trash take of the week, but this definitely was it was an honorable mention, and that was you guys are following Bleacher Report's fantasy trade leagues. I don't know what they're calling it. You guys saw the trade that they had on there?
They did multiple. Yeah, they did multiple. Are you talking about the Aaron Gordon for Buddy Hield one? That's the one I saw.
No, I'm talking about the one the Bagley one. The Bagley
I have several of them. You want to start with that one?
Okay. Well, let's start with the Bagley one. That's the one I was prepared to bring in.
This trade involves the Houston Rockets and the Sacramento Kings. I'm just going to be straightforward. The Rockets would receive Marvin Bagley and Nemanja Bjelica, and the Kings would receive PJ Tucker, Daniel House, and an unprotected 2022 first-round pick. I don't know why I said 2022, 2022 first-round pick. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, because I know Ryan has a lot to say, and I want to hear Ryan's take on this. Why don't you give the other one that Ryan was talking about, the Aaron Gordon one, for Ryan? Then he can comment.
I'm going to be honest. I don't have one involving Aaron Gordon on here. I have all the Bleacher Report ones that he's had. If you have it, go ahead.
I remember it because I looked at it while I was doing nothing at work yesterday. It was Bleacher Report put out like I think it is titled blockbuster trade or whatever that every NBA team needs to make or something like that. Anyways, they had Buddy Hield straight up for Aaron Gordon. All right. And this is how you know that these idiots over there do not watch Kings basketball or know anything about Kings basketball, because this is what they said. They said that the Magic could use scoring, blah, blah, blah. We don't care about them. But Sacramento could get a high-flying forward, okay, for a team that needs a forward. And I'm sitting there thinking, a team that needs a power forward. I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, so they need a power forward. Do they not know that we have, Harry Giles, Bagley, Rashawn Holmes, Alex Len, Harrison Barnes gets slotted there sometimes, and then you want to throw Aaron Gordon into that. So I was like, to me, it's idiotic that teams are, or not teams, but people like Bleacher Report are saying stuff like that. Like, to me, that's really uneducated. You guys want me to talk about the other trade as well for Daniel House and?
Yeah, you just go.
Okay.
You go in, and Ryan. I'll help you out real quick. That before you go into that is that you can see right now that there's people that get paid to. This is their job, right? It's their job to report, to produce content, to talk about things. Dude, content is very, very thin right now, and we don't get paid, right? So we just do this shit because we like to. It's fun. But we have jobs. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, no one's telling us you need to pump out this many columns. So people just don't do the research, man. They're putting out bad content. And that's where I think that we kind of have an edge when it comes to certain topics, is because we really hyper-focus our opinions on one thing, where you have some people who, like the Sacktown royalty thing that came out a couple weeks ago, they just say shit just to say shit. But at the end of the day, though, it does influence the fan base. But the Bagley one, Ryan, did you want to talk about the Bagley one? Because that was absurd.
It was PJ Tucker, Daniel House, and an unprotected 2022 first rounder?
That is correct.
Okay. Yes. All right. So, and Sacramento's going to give up Bielisa, who's on a team-friendly contract, and a 21-year-old Marvin Bagley, who was the number 2 pick in the draft like 2 years ago. That for PJ Tucker, who is a 6'7" center right now. It's for Houston.
He got shoes. He got hella shoes, though.
And he went to Texas Hook'em. Not hating on my boy PJ Tucker. His shoe game is better than mine. But Daniel House, what is Daniel House going to do? Okay, I mean, I think he's just a worse Ken Bazemore probably. PJ Tucker is a 6'7" center, like I said. Where's he going to play on this Kings roster? I don't understand how in their eyes would Sacramento bail on a Nemanja Bjelica team-friendly contract and a guy who's 21 years old this early for role players and probably the 25th pick in the draft? That makes no sense to me.
It's insane. Hey, if it's that easy to get paid to do something like this, what are we doing, guys? Maybe we should just get paid,
I mean, you just got to...
Straight up. Straight up, it's a clickbait.
I mean, no, it's just... Because I guarantee you go look on those other trades. There's probably some meaningful trades. There's probably some one where they got Brad Beal going somewhere, and they probably have one where Kevin Love went somewhere, and there's probably some meaningful trades in there. But because it's Sacramento, people don't put their time and effort in researching, and that's how you get stupid shit like this, and that's how you get stupid stuff like the Kings need a high flying forward. Well, they have Rashawn Holmes, all right? Like it's. That's how you get stupid stuff like that. It's Sacramento, and people just don't care.
Yeah, so Doug just put up on the screen. He did the screen share. They also did one which was like Buddy Hield and some other random things for Tobias Harris. That was a big thing on King's Twitter this week, which was people were talking about Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris has a crazy contract. I don't see any reason the Kings would need to take that on. I don't know how much we need to spend on each individual trade. I think our commentary here is, Doug, you're right. It is clickbait in the sense that they need to pump out content and they need people to follow along. But I genuinely do think that people are trying. They're trying their best to produce what they would consider good content. And yeah, it's clickbaity. We do clickbaity shit. Not clickbaity, but we have, you would say, hot takes, I guess, sometimes that we just put out there because we want to put it out there. But at the end of the day, I do think it's someone trying their best. So Bleacher Report seems to be. I didn't realize that we were going to go in this order, but Bleacher Report, I think, seems to be our target this week. Then I think the bulk conversation that I wanted to have here was going to be the Bleacher Report redrafts. And I thought this was going to be really fun conversation because the Kings are, I would say, the number one, maybe worst drafting team of the last 10 years, in my opinion. Maybe 12 years if you want to reach back that far. There's a great YouTube series, not a series, but YouTube video some random guy put out. I want to tweet this out to the people listening. It really recaps the Kings draft history. But Doug has pulled up the Bleacher Report's redrafts, and the Bleacher Report's redrafts were as if you redrafted that draft now. And so I wanted to go through each one and see did Bleacher Report get it right, or do we think the Kings might have taken someone else? Because like Ryan said, we don't feel the Kings are always best represented when it comes to these mass media lists. So, Doug, what year are you going to start
with 2018. They haven't done 2019 yet, and we didn't even have a first-round pick last year anyways, did we? So,
no. Well, why don't you go start further back?
You want to go all the way
first
back?
one you have, like maybe 2014?
I have 2012.
20.
You want to start in 2012?
Okay, let's start there. Shoot. And we'll move through them quick. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to give an opinion. I'm just going to read what they have, okay? So, first overall pick in the 2012 draft, the Hornets take Anthony Davis, okay? The second pick, the Charlotte Bobcats take Damian Lillard. The third pick, the Washington Wizards take Draymond Green. The fourth pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers take Bradley Beal. The fifth pick, your Sacramento Kings take Chris Middleton. Do I need to keep going, or do you want to stop there?
No, Ryan, why don't you just pull up the actual draft so Doug doesn't have to read the whole draft. Okay. Just put it up on your screen.
Who did what year is this?
And then Doug, you can tell us 2012 the Kings took Thomas Robinson that year,
the forward from Kansas. For those younger fans.
Yeah, and so I think this one too. We got to remember who's on the Kings roster. It's got to make sense too.
Okay,
what they would have realistically.
The top 10 or the NBA draft from 2012. Yeah.
Okay. God. So they had the Kings taking Middleton. Ryan, would you have taken someone different here?
Okay, so I'm going down. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, no. Dion Waiters, no. Harrison Barnes, no. We haven't ended up with them anyway. Andre Drummond, we had Boogie then. From what I'm seeing, I mean, Evan Fournier is the next best player.
Probably a good redraft.
Yeah, that was a decent redraft right there.
So good redraft on Bleacher Report, probably.
Yeah. For 100%. The only other person that we could have possibly took right there was Andre Drummond, but we did have Boogie. But they drafted a big man. So hold on. Kings did draft a big man in this, so I mean, you might take Andre Drummond right there.
All right.
Okay, Doug, give us
2013. The first overall pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers take Giannis. The second pick, the Orlando Magic take Rudy Gobert. The third pick, the Washington Wizards take CJ McCollum. The fourth pick, the Charlotte Bobcats take Victor Oladipo. The fifth pick, the Phoenix Suns take Steven Adams. Sixth pick, the Hornets take Robert Covington. And the seventh pick, your Sacramento Kings take Otto Porter.
Ooh, Otto Porter. So in this draft, the Kings originally took this 2013. Doug, they took Ben McLemore that year.
Yep.
Yeah, this draft I remember going into it was not. It sucked, but there were some pieces out there in the redraft. I remember I wanted the Kings to always get around this time. I thought the Kings should always solidify their front court with some type of defensive big man. At that time, Boogie was coming in. I'm like, they need to let this guy do his thing and just go off and not have to worry about defense. Did Steven Adams get drafted ahead of the Kings in this redraft, Doug?
He was taken. I'm sorry, I clicked out to look at something. He was taken. Where'd I have it? Now my computer wants to freeze. I believe they had him going 5.
Like 5.
Yeah,
they went 5 to Phoenix.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ryan? This is a tough one. Because this draft blew. Looking back, it ended up blowing
altogether.
Have the
Kings taking?
They had the Kings taking
They had.
Doug.
God, you guys are making me go back. It was Otto Porter. That's right, Otto Porter.
Okay, Otto Porter. I guess. I mean, there's Dennis Schroeder. Otto Porter. I mean, whatever. Tim Hardaway. That's another option of a guy who's like, especially this year. Who I'm really big on Tim Hardaway though, so it's kind of a bias thing.
KCP.
Otto Porter, Dennis Schroeder. Nah, screw Contavious Caldwell-Pope. But Schroeder, yeah, Schroeder, Hardaway, or Otto Porter. Yeah, that's it. This draft was freaking terrible. Oh my god.
All right, so they probably did a fine job there. I would say, I don't really have an opinion. Ryan kind of covered it. So off to 14. Doug, where did the Kings select in 14? 8. Oh, okay, this draft. Oh God.
All right,
go ahead. Doug.
First overall pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers take Joel Embiid. The second pick, the Milwaukee Bucks take Nikola Jokic. The third pick, the Sixers take Zach LaVine. The fourth pick, the Orlando Magic take Clint Capella. The fifth pick, the Utah Jazz take Aaron Gordon. The sixth pick, the Boston Celtics take Marcus Smart. The seventh pick, the Lakers take Spencer Dinwiddie. And the eighth pick, the Sacramento Kings would take Andrew Wiggins.
Wow, they have Andrew Wiggins slipping that far in the draft.
Do you want me to finish out
their
the
redraft?
Because
wow.
Okay, well, I was going to say because at 9, the Hornets take Julius Randle. So,
all right, this is
yeah.
Where did Zach LaVine go in that? Has he gone yet?
Yeah, he was third.
He was like
the Sixers.
Okay.
So in this draft, while you guys are thinking, this was the draft. If you guys remember that they did a behind the scenes with Pete D'Alessandro, however you say his name, and Vivek. And this is that analytic draft. And the analytics guys came in and said, take Elfrid Payton. The analytics say take Elfrid Payton. And they're like, yes, Elfrid Payton. And then they go, but I like Stauskas. He can shoot. And they're like, yeah, Stauskas. And then they took Stauskas. And it was like, why the fuck did you hire these analytic guys? They tell you to take a guy. And then you take Stauskas, who's not even an NBA player. That's what I remember about this draft. Doug's a Michigan fan, so Doug was optimistic about Stauskas. I never bought it, especially because they just drafted Macklemore, so they were drafting a bench player right away. Honestly, I'm not going to go too hard on this because if they have Andrew Wiggins falling in a redraft to the Kings here, by all means, let's take it. Same as you, Ryan?
Yeah, the only other honorable mentions on here is Bogdanovich was later on, whatever. Where'd it go? Dario Saric, and I'm a big fan of this. Well, there's Gary Harris too, but I'm a big fan of TJ Warren too. That's another honorable mention there. That fits the Sacramento need then too.
But not over Wiggins, though. I think you got to say that out loud. Yeah. Okay. Next year, Doug, we're in 15.
2015. With the first pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves take Karl Anthony Towns, which they did. Second, the LA Lakers take Devin Booker. The third pick, the 76ers take Kristaps Porzingis. The fourth pick, the New York Knicks take Miles Turner. The fifth pick, the Orlando Magic take D'Angelo Russell. And the sixth pick, your Sacramento Kings take Josh Richardson.
Josh Richardson is an interesting player because, by all accounts, stuff I read, he's considered what you would consider like a top perimeter defender, and he's like a 3-and-D guard. But who's still on the board, Ryan? That you saw out of
people,
that?
Dude. Yes, Montrezl Harrell, Kelly Oubre, Terry Rozier.
Norman Powell.
Let me just keep. Come on, dude, that's bad. They Rashawn Holmes,
Justice Winslow.
Justice
Winslow. I like,
honestly, Montrezl Harrell, dude. Mm-hmm. You take Montrezl Harrell, Kelly Oubre there.
In this draft, looking back, I remember the guy that I wanted the Kings. There were a couple of guys I wanted the Kings to get, and I'm not going to lie. I thought Willie could have been a good running partner with DeMarcus Cousins, and I think that's why we hate on him so hard, is because we were optimistic when he came out. But the guy I really wanted was Justice Winslow in that draft. That was the guy I wanted. Yeah, he hands down, and I was disappointed when they didn't take him. But also, Ryan and I are Texas fans, and Miles Turner was another guy too, who I thought would have been a good player, probably over Willie just because he's a better overall player. But yeah, so probably failed on this redraft here.
Okay, moving on
I'm
to
excited for the next year.
2016. All right, the Philadelphia 76ers with the first overall pick take Pascal Siakam. The second pick, the Lakers take Ben Simmons. The third pick, the Boston Celtics take Brandon Ingram. The fourth pick, the Phoenix Suns take Jaylen Brown. The fifth pick, the Timberwolves take Jamal Murray. The sixth pick, the Pelicans take Fred VanVleet. The seventh pick, the Nuggets take Malcolm Brogdon. And the eighth pick, the Kings take Sabonis. So
It was a good draft. They got Buddy Hield falling all the way.
Toronto.
Like, that's bad, dude. Fred VanVleet over Buddy Hield? Come on, man.
I know,
man.
He would, that's the thing though. He was a bench player on a championship team, and he had
a few good games once this kid was born. Interesting that they had that. This is a really good draft. Interesting that Pascal Siakam went number 1 over Ben Simmons, Jaylen Brown, Brandon Ingram, especially Brandon Ingram this year, dude. He was 25.5 points a game, dude.
He was having a really good year.
Yeah, Pascal.
This draft, that I like Sabonis, so good to Bleacher Report. Before we move on, my commentary on this draft, looking back, it was a really good draft, but unfortunately, I think this really set the Kings back because the Kings had they traded a lot in this draft. This is where they traded back and acquired picks. And then they got because they traded the rights of Marquise Chris, right? And they traded him to the Suns, and then they traded back, and that's where they ended up with Papagiannis, who they took over a lot of guys, and then they took Malachi Richardson, who they took over guys, and then they took Skal Labissiere, who they took over a lot of guys, which none of those guys are even on the roster anymore, and that's 3 first-round picks in the prime of a rebuild. That they didn't even land a player. They didn't land a player. And there were players there.
In real world, okay, so without a redraft, just the guys that they drafted Papagiannis over, Karis LeVert, guys that they draft Pascal Siakam, DeJounte Murray, Deontay Davis, Malcolm Brogdon, Zubac. All these guys are really good players that are still in the league are going to be real. DeJounte Murray, if he wouldn't have got hurt, man, who knows where he'd be at right now. Dude, that's horrible. They drafted all these guys. That's bad, dude. That was really bad.
Yeah. So as you can tell, as we're going through, it's just like, I think part of the reason we wanted to do this was to look back at the misses and then really see if Bleacher Report got it right. In this draft, especially 3 first-round picks, none of them were on your roster after 2 years, and you passed on Sabonis, who they could have had easily. Probably a fail for the Kings there. So, Doug, bring us on to 17.
The first overall pick, the Philadelphia 76ers take Jason Tatum. The second pick, the Lakers take Donovan Mitchell. The third pick, the Celtics take Bam Adebayo. I can never say his last name right. The fourth pick, the Suns take De'Aaron Fox. And the fifth pick, the Kings take Jonathan Isaac.
Jonathan Isaac, really? Over Lauri Markkanen?
And OG Anunoby with the next pick.
So in this one, the Kings also had 2 first-round picks. Then the Kings really, I think De'Aaron Fox is still the guy from that draft right now.
That second pick at 10 that the Kings had, Bleacher Report had them taking Jarrett Allen, the big guy out of that's in Brooklyn now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So they took. All right, so Luke Kennard is a good player. Jonathan Isaac, really, dude? Lauri Markkanen, Dennis Smith, who I still like. People don't like him because he's inefficient, but Luke Kennard. Who else was down here that I saw? Oh, the Jarrett Allen one. Kyle Kuzma. Dude, like, I'll take Kuzma over Jonathan Isaac, dude. Like, wow.
So this draft, actually, I forgot because the Kings got Harry Giles in this draft too at 20. I wanted this one, Doug. Who got drafted? Did above De'Aaron Fox? Did Donovan Mitchell?
3 was Bam, 2 was Donovan Mitchell, and 1 was Jason Tatum.
I'm sorry, guys. I still think De'Aaron Fox is the number one player in this draft. I still
Jason
think
Tatum.
that. And you,
So far,
I'm
so far,
biased,
Jason
I
Tatum's
guess.
the best player on a playoff team, dude. He went seven
All right.
games as a rookie, dude, with Cleveland. He went 7 games as a rookie with Kyrie out with Cleveland, dude. That's
My whole thing, without going into it too much, though, is that they're still super young. They're still super young, and so I think debate's still out. Before we move on, the point I wanted to bring up on this draft was, and no lie, I wanted OG Anunoby. That's who I wanted late in this draft because the Kings had picks, and I didn't know too much about him. And I remember watching him; he was thick and he was really big, and he played at Indiana, and he was just that type of player that we've talked about over the years of the Kings needing athletic, big wing players. And I really, really wanted him, and they passed on him 2 times. And I was, I was definitely bummed this draft because I thought if you have that many picks, if they had taken a guy like that, he'd still be starting at the wing for them, and it could have changed their franchise.
Also, we forgot about Lonzo Ball, and I would probably take Lonzo Ball over Jonathan Isaac, and I might even take Markelle Fultz over Jonathan Isaac. Markelle Fultz is having a decent comeback season, and he's on the same. And he's on the same team as Jonathan Isaac. So I haven't heard shit from Jonathan Isaac since he's been in the NBA. I haven't heard nothing.
That's because he plays in Orlando too. So Doug, we didn't have a pick in 18, right?
We did.
We did. Sorry, you said one year didn't have a pick. I was just thinking in my head.
So you want to move on to 2018? Oh, I'm sorry, it was 19. Last year we didn't have a first round pick.
Yeah,
last year we did not. Okay, so the 2018 redraft from Bleacher Report. Number 1, the Phoenix Suns take Luka Doncic. Number 2, the Kings take Trae Young. Number 3, the Hawks take Jaren Jackson. Number 4, the Grizzlies take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And number 5, the Mavs take DeAndre Ayton.
So I'm an idiot for just dismissing we didn't have a pick, because of course I picked this year. I wasn't thinking, but so in this one they don't even have, where do they have Marvin Bagley going?
To Cleveland.
Yeah. So in my redraft here, based on how it fell, to be honest with you guys, I still would stick with Bagley in a redraft here in the way it fell. I still would. I'm not like out on Bagley.
Nobody is.
Like I would still take Bagley.
You wouldn't take DeAndre Ayton? Dude averaged like 18 and like 11.
No, they said
he went we have the number 2 pick, Eric.
Oh no, okay, my bad. I thought that he was.
We have the number 2 pick.
My bad.
So you're going to take Bagley number 2.
Luka would go 1, and then you have the options of Trae Young, DeAndre Ayton, Bagley after that.
Yeah,
you take.
I don't know,
De'Aaron
man.
Fox, so the Kings wouldn't have taken another point guard. Okay, so realistically, you got to look at it. You got to look at it as, okay, we already have De'Aaron Fox. We have our cornerstone point guard. We need that big man. They take DeAndre Ayton here, number 2. Dude, average he's a walking double-double. Easy.
Okay, here's what I'll say about this. It is only because Bagley's been hurt, but I'm telling you, I still think that Bagley. I still think that Bagley can take it. Take it there.
But you got to go off of what have they done? What have they're doing right now? It's a redraft from their point in this career right now. It's not on a redraft of what you think they can do 2 years from now. It's what have they done for me lately? And Marvin Bagley has done nothing lately. And I agree that if up to this point in their career, yes, you take him number 8. I agree. That's a decent one, and this is a hard one because there's so many deep players. You know, like you have Michael Porter went number 14 down here. You have Dante DiVincenzo. You have Kevin Huerter. Like this was a crazy deep draft right here, and you got to take DeAndre Ayton, dude. You have to, man.
Yeah, so you probably I hear what you're saying, and I say I would concede now, but I just want to say I still think the fact that Bagley slips to 8 and people are out on Bagley, that's a conversation we're gonna have going like next season. We'll have to talk about it because we still think he's got talent. But so another fun episode with you guys. Thanks for hanging on with us, going through. Send us articles on our Instagram and Twitter. You can follow us at Kingscast. Individually, you can follow us at Kingscast DFresh, at Kingscast Ryan, at Kingscast Eric. We like to debate. We like to talk, and we like to share information. We'll tweet out some of those links, specifically the Collapse SB Nation series for you guys to watch, and then we'll also put out that clip of the Kings redrafts or Kings drafts over the years. So thanks for joining us for D Fresh and Ryan. This is Eric. Go Kings.
Kings.
Kangs. Thanks for listening to the Kangs Cast podcast. Make sure to subscribe and be notified for our next episode. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at KangsCast, like on Facebook, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.